Transitioning, check out that cool fade. I just need some music to go with that. Again, need like some beam me up sounds, and that would be pretty freaking awesome. But well, like I said, I've kind of embraced my more artist side. Like I said, I know you guys are always talking about wanting to catch a live stream and it being scheduled. It's tough to schedule a live stream. I mean, past couple weeks I've tried to set something. I even put a schedule up on the website, and it's just a pain in the butt, to be honest with you. As much stuff as I have to put up with, so I have tried not to let that impede me though. When the particular muse strikes me to get on here and put up a live stream, because there's a lot of folks that watch these even after the fact, and that's a good thing. And so the content needs to get out there on that end of it. So real quick, like I said, over the past couple of days, I've been having a conversation with a gentleman who's in charge of a lot of blacksmithing stuff down here, and like I said, I won't let him go nameless on that end of it. And we've had a lot of interesting discussions on blacksmithing groups. Now, the weird thing is that for as many of you guys that are out there that are my subscribers and subscribers to people like Roy and John Switzer and everybody else, very few of those guys who are into blacksmithing seem like they ever know anything about the local groups. It seems like that the groups are just not represented, and I don't find that surprising. And so, because there's a real schism that goes in, and that's kind of really what I want to talk to you guys about, because there's a couple things. One, why groups are a risky proposition, at least in my experience. And again, I know I'm going to get hate mail from the folks that have been in these groups forever, because understand, we've had people that have been in these groups now for over 40 years. Abana was formed in the 80s, I think late 70s, early 80s. So it's been 40 years that this group has been around. And I get to armchair quarterback on a lot of this stuff, and I always feel a little hesitant. But I have fielded some kind of fire for being critical. But there are some really active groups out there. I think West Virginia in that area has a tremendous, a couple of good clubs up there. Florida has 3 or 4 good clubs. Georgia has the Okmulgee. So it's a mixed bag, because here's the thing. It's like saying, what are people like? Because it really depends on the individual person, and it really depends on the individual club. But let me share with you a lot of the criticisms that I've gotten, because whenever somebody has asked me about how to get into blacksmithing, the first thing I have always told them is to find your local Abana chapter. Now, the amazing thing is, these people are all on the internet. They're going through YouTube, and they're like, what's that? So I mean, that question kind of, it makes inherent the problem. So you've got this old guard of people out there, and there's a couple of schisms within even the blacksmithing community, especially within Abana, that have been pretty much at war for a very, very long time. And if you're coming into this and you say, hey, I'm going to join a blacksmithing group, there's a couple of pitfalls in there, because a lot of the older groups, they tend to be social clubs. And here's the problem. If you have something that is as much social club as blacksmithing group, it's not going to be inclusive. And let me tell you, and I hate to use that term, but even today, I had to put out a post on my Facebook talking about, if you send me a friend request, because my Facebook really is going to be, that's my landing page for a lot of people. I got several, a couple thousand friends on there, or friends, or acquaintances on that end of it. And I get oftentimes from viewers friend requests. And, of course, I'm kind of going to look at your page. And the statement that I put out was, if you've got any overt or profuse amount of political postings, religious postings, or other mean-spirited stuff, I'm not going to add you. Again, you are absolutely entitled to whatever opinions and strong opinions that you may have. That's the freedoms that we have. But my job as an educator, my page is, again, for 2 things. It is for blacksmithing, it's for the work that comes out of the work that comes out of the shop, and for immature humor. That's what my page is for. And I bring people in to educate them about smithing, which has zero to do with political leanings, religious affiliations. My job is to bring people in that can have those opinions, but they can put them in their pocket and put it aside to learn something about an awesome craft. And that's a particular type of person that I cultivate. If you wear your political leanings or your religious leanings on your sleeve, you're probably not going to have a good time when you engage with me or my folks. You can be religious, you can be political, but it's not conducive to having a healthy group. It's just not. It's the most corrosive thing. People have known this for years. Whenever they talk about things, don't ever bring up politics or religion. And it's truer now than it ever was before. Because now we've got a lot of people that don't mind opening their mouth, and they're used to being behind the safety of a screen. And that's where people start getting punched, right? So there's a couple of clubs that, and again, I'm not going to call any particular names, but it's one of those situations where somebody has asked me about how to get into blacksmithing. I've directed them to a club, and the report that comes back is that this is a bunch of old guys that like to do X, and they are dyed-in-the-wool conservatives, or they are this. There's clearly not as much about blacksmithing as they are having their own particular group. And that's a problem. And I'm saying this not because there's been one or two incidences, because over the past 6 years, there's been a bunch. Now, here's the deal. If you get together with a bunch of people, you're going to want to be with your own folks. You know, if you are a big-time gun advocate on that end of it, you really don't want to have to fight with somebody who's not. You know, you don't even want to avoid that. But the great thing is that if you put that in your pocket and don't worry about it, everybody gets to learn blacksmithing. And that's the way it should be. That is not the way it has been. And there's a schism that goes back to the founding of Abana. Abana was formed about 20 miles up the road from me in a place called Lumpkin, Georgia. There was a town up there called Westville, which was all these old houses from the local area. And that's where Abana literally was founded. Okay? And what you had there were a bunch of traditionalists. You had guys that were reenactors. Had guys that were historians. You had these, which tended to be, if you're a Civil War reenactor. Now this is amazing. If you're a medieval reenactor, you're most likely going to lean liberal. If you are a Civil War reenactor, you're almost always going to be red state. If you are a Revolutionary War reenactor, you are almost always libertarian, toting a Gadsden flag. I mean, it's amazing how these political lines line up. Being somebody that does blacksmithing, I've had to span all of those. But my blacksmithing has nothing to do with my politics nor my religion. But that's not always the courtesy that people pay everybody else. So, and on top of that, oh, somebody give me money. Who gave me money? 50 Pro. Hang on. I got to turn this thing off. Who gave me money? Man, thank you very much. Appreciate it. By the way, it's a great time. Hey, guys, like somebody else thank me. Roy, what in the hell are you doing here? Folks, if you... Roy, thank you. If you don't know, folks, we have a celebrity here. This is Roy from Christ-Centered Ironworks. If you like my stuff, you'll absolutely adore Roy's stuff, so please go by and check out his channel. What in the... All right, hang on. This is weird. This thing has been acting kind of funky. Is Roy even in here? All right, I don't know. I think we're having some issues in here. All right, so no, our alert box has died here. Hang on, we got to turn this thing off. I don't know what's going on there. It did it earlier. I think it's broken. So anyway, one of the main schisms that happened early on is the fact that you had these traditional craftsmen. You had these guys that were, again, tend to be conservative. And then when Abana was formed, you had all these folks that smelled like patchouli and had strange hair color that came into it. These were the university artists that got into blacksmithing, and they didn't come at it from a traditional craft standpoint. They came at it from a medium, an art medium standpoint. Ellen Durkin, if you don't know her work, Miss Ellen does incredible work. Really, really kind of awesome stuff. She makes dresses, and it's pretty cool stuff. But, Miss Ellen would, like I said, and I don't think Miss Ellen has any unusual piercings or tattoos or weird hair color, but she's in that particular camp. And there has been a tremendous amount of fighting with that end of it. So when you start getting into the blacksmithing end of it, you're going to find that there's real schisms in there, and there's never really been a good solution for any of it. So when you get ready to go start looking at a group, one of the things that you're going to be very smart to do is you've got to put that stuff aside. And if anybody kind of puts that forth, you're going to have to make that judgment call, because if you're there for blacksmithing, you need to be there for blacksmithing, which is one of the reasons that you never hear me mention anything along the political lines of things or the religious lines of things. Now, I will comment on what I feel to be scientific sense, because my entire particular world revolves around getting to truth, in the sense of what are the facts, which I'm a big proponent of. You guys have seen me do the debate stuff, so that's a big portion of me, but that is not necessarily religious or political. That's just having sense, right? So when you start going to these groups, you would be well advised to mind your P's and Q's, understand that those schisms are out there and they exist. And if you can find yourself a group that kind of lines up with the things that you like, all the better. But here in Georgia, you're going to, especially with our older chapters, you're going to have a lot of folks from the old days, and that is going to be one of those things that they're not going to be overly conducive to bright pink hair or nipple piercings or anything like that. That is just not going to be their gig. However, one of the amazing things about this craft, and again, that's why I always have enjoyed this, there's a lot of leeway because people care about the craft, right? And there's folks that are on the religious side of things that have the blue hairs and the patchouli smellers, in their shop. And if, look here, man, I got a John Deere cap on. You guys hear how I talk, but at the same time, I have been to the Castro in San Francisco. I've actually had my photograph taken in front of the nail salon that they call the Hand Job in the Castro in downtown San Francisco, right? Again, I am from these roots, but I have been around on that end of things. I find it fascinating, but it's not everybody's gig. So, understand that when you start going out and try to find your group, try to forget everything else. If you're there to learn about blacksmithing, be there to learn about blacksmithing. If somebody tries to steer something in the way that you don't like, say, hey, let's do this about blacksmithing. I care about the craft moving forward. And you're not going to have 100% of everything that you want. If I'm going to a group to learn about blacksmithing, that's what I'm there for. I'm there to be a good student. I'm there to be a valued member of that community. I'm there to be a good soldier. Convincing somebody of a political leaning or religious right or wrong, if that is the undertow that you've got with you, you're not there for blacksmithing. Don't, like I said, get it out of your system. I remember in one particular group, there was a Methodist and a Baptist that got on, again, two things. These are not separate religions, okay? But to hear these guys fight, you thought it was. You had one that dunked and you had one to sprinkle. And I guarantee you, if you left them alone long enough, there'd be a blood war over dunking and sprinkling. And these are the same religion. So if you imagine when you have two different religions come in, or you have a person that's a redneck that meets up with the art student with the nipple piercings, it can be a volatile combination unless you keep it framed in the fact that we are after blacksmithing knowledge. And when you go to these clubs, you're going to have to read the room. If I go out to the West Coast and I'm working with the blacksmiths out there, there is a particular flavor there. But I'm kind of a spectacle when I go to the West Coast because everybody is terrified of the Southern white dude because everybody expects me to pull a rebel flag out of my hind end and start chasing people with a rope. That is unfortunately the perception of where I'm from, and I'm a big guy, right? So there is a palpable reaction to me and my accent. I was cool when I was out there until I opened my mouth and they heard me talk, and then all of a sudden the air goes out of the room, which is unfair to me and is wrong on their part, but I have to get to be an ambassador. And then when people find out who I am, they ask me questions about hog hunting and moonshine and deliverance are the top 3 things that West Coast people ask me about being from the South. So, anyway, that's something that you need to be aware of. It is a schism. It is something that you need to take into account because we're always dealing with people. The groups out there are good folks. The folks that have been in the Okmulgee, people like Buster Grubbs that are up there, the people down in Florida, Clyde Payton. These are legends in the local crafts. These are people that have opened their homes and their shops. They are the old guard and they are deserved of great respect. But people are people. And so when you start going to learn blacksmithing, you're going to have to avoid the pitfalls of falling into anything but blacksmithing. And if there's any group that ever comes up with some sort of purity test for you before you can come learn smithing, it's not a group that you want to be with. But I've always taken heart that there's a lot of gatherings that I've been to that you have the people that look like me and talk like me next to the blue hairs. So, and everybody's getting along. Blades and like I said, and blacksmiths tend to be a little more peculiar than bladesmiths. But that's a whole nother topic. So, yeah. All right, well, guys, that's 25 minutes in. That's all I wanted to get off of my particular chest on that end of it. Let's see. Let's get into the comments. As always, guys, like I said, when I do these chats, if you have a question pertaining to the topic, pertaining to anything at all, I am here at your disposal. If you'll pop your topic into the chat, I will go through chat and I will pick it up and we will get you a good answer on that end of it. By the way, what an excellent time to point out, guys, again, this has been an ongoing deal for me. I've made the attempt to do this full time. When you guys put in a few dollars for the live stream, it makes a difference. Now, Super Chats I don't think is on, but there is a link, a direct donation link in the description. If you want to toss in a couple of dollars, please do. It really adds up. It really helps. If you want to buy one of the books, you can go to trentontide.com and purchase a book. Or if you really, really enjoy the content and want to get behind the scenes stuff, and there's a pretty good amount of it, you can join up at a Patreon for as little as $1 a month. And Patreon really helps. We've had, oh, there's Roy. Roy, we were just talking about you. You phantom donated $5 about 10 minutes ago. I didn't know if you knew that. Like I said, it's one of the widgets here is acting up, so we had to leave. I'm not sure what's going on with it, but anyway, but that's where we're at, guys. Like I said, again, Patreons, thank you, and yeah. So, what questions do you guys have? Let me go through here. Trent got nipple piercings in San Francisco. Ironically, no, I did not. There's nothing ironic about it. I didn't get a damn thing done in San Francisco. I have neither tattoos nor piercings of any type, not because I have a personal issue with. It's just, I spend my entire life in the shop trying not to have metal go through my flesh, so. All right, let's go through, see who's all here. We got Donnie Poole, Shannon Stevens, Thule13. Hadn't seen Thule in a while. Thomas Matthews, Dennis Campbell, Steve Nolan, Provo Pirate, a huge contributor to the channel. John Herndon, let's see, Wayne Morey. Let's see, Donnie is from South Central Pennsylvania, not too far from where we actually film Master of Arms in Allentown. Michael Hensey, Michael Bellevue, Michael Bellevue. Mr. Bill is here, another common commentator on the videos. Louis LaRose, Northwest Canada, the great state of Canada. Not anywhere near Letterkenny. What a great show. What a great show. Christian George, Brian Olson, Northwest Blacksmith Association from Brian, Thomas Matthews, Benjamin Schmidt, the Blacksmith Forge from Titus from Forsyth, Georgia. I know Forsyth very well. The Polish pony think all that is holy. All right. Let's see where we got. David is playing a D&D game. Jake here, one of the first guys I worked with in Andersonville. Of course, our famous Mr. Roy. Polish Pony, Trenton. I'm a slight noob to the traditional means of work. I would love your thoughts on hydraulic presses as a tool in the blacksmith shop. Awesome question. So, a hydraulic press in the shop is an incredible thing. It is a super, super awesome thing. It's not a power hammer. It's close in relation to a power hammer, but it can do a lot more than the power hammer because the tooling is so controllable. You've heard me say again and again that tooling is king. When it comes to a hydraulic press, tooling is uber king. If you're getting into actually doing a professional shop and making anything in a production setting, I cannot recommend it highly enough, because with a little bit of scrap steel, you can put one together for under $1,400, which is far cheaper than even a tire hammer. And the 110-pound Sahendler self-contained hammer that I have, if I'm working 2-inch, I can, but it takes a lot of heats to really manipulate 2-inch solid steel. That hydraulic press that we made that's 40-ton will mash it into pieces in a heartbeat. So, yeah. All right. So yeah, it's an integral part. It's like a belt sander. Once you use one, you'll never want to do without. All right. Mark Goggin, any idea why Urbana doesn't have an affiliate within about 100 miles of Chicago? I'm 30 miles west of Chicago, and the closest affiliate is Central Illinois. I don't know. And here's something you've got to understand about the nonprofits in general. One, a nonprofit is probably one of the most. It is the finest vehicle for theft and deception that was ever engineered. Period. Okay. And there's some greasiness to all the business dealings that occur within any nonprofit. For example, let us say that you have an Urbana affiliate, right? You would assume that it's in the title that it's an Urbana affiliate, that it's Urbana. It's not. It is a completely and wholly separate company. Let me say that again. It's not Urbana. The affiliate means that they're just affiliated with this other company, okay? That's like having a local restaurant in your town that says McDonald's affiliate. They're not McDonald's. They're just affiliated with them. They hang out with them and they talk smack in the afternoon. So that's one of the reasons that every chapter is really different, because there are no overarching guidelines that Mother Church can enforce upon an affiliate. That's problem number one. So when you give money to Urbana, you're not giving money to your affiliate. A lot of the times when you're giving money to your affiliate, they're paying dues. They're taking a portion of that money and sending it back to Mother Church. Normally because Urbana provides a couple of services to their affiliates, such as insurance, okay? So there's a lot of real hardcore business behind the scenes. It's not just people getting together for blacksmithing. There's some real important issues that go on from the business side of things. And it is, even though it's a charity, it is a business. So, why isn't there one out of Chicago? I don't know. Can't tell you. It tends to be a very haphazard thing, and it ends up usually being, in fact, I'm actually trying to write a new book about the very thing, about starting a group, that some guys get together and they say, hey, we need to be a group. And then what happens, they incorporate as a nonprofit. They take up some money, and almost inevitably some money goes missing, group disbands. That's normally the fate of any nonprofit group. So I don't know why there's one there. I don't know if there was one there to start with. It's very difficult because, again, Abana is a separate entity, and all these other affiliates are really doing their own thing that Abana has very little control over. So, yeah, don't know. Yeah, Roy, like I said, that's what I'm saying. For some reason, the little thing there, yeah, that was like weeks ago, right? So, yeah. All right. Jake, you can't hide the tramp stamp from us, tramp. Man, I tell you, I don't look good naked anymore. Nobody wants to see me naked or a tramp stamp at all. I promise you. Wayne Morey, Trent, I have a 3-burner propane forge I'm putting together, and I plan on using castable refractory. Is there a type that I should be looking for? The stuff that I use is known as a Econocast 30. It is a hard refractory. There's 2 flavors usually of the castable. There's an insulating refractory, which is a soft stuff, and then there's the hard castable. I use the hard castable for just about everything. There is also something known as Mizzou, Mizzou. Roy, back me up on this. And Mizzou is also a 3,000 degree castable refractory. We have a Econocast down here. I think Mizzou is kind of on over toward the central U.S. I think they're very close to being the same thing. They're just manufactured by 2 different companies, so they have 2 different names, but I think they are very, very similar. So, yep, Mizzou or a Econocast 30. Scott Langhorst, bad idea to weld a plate to a Peterite anvil. Not only is it a bad idea, if you do such, you need to have your butthole pulled out and stretched over your eyelids. That's how bad an idea it is. There is no reason to put a plate on top of a Peterite. If you want to have it repaired, the plate should be built up. But if you weld a plate to a Peterite, you will, like I said, this goes beyond religion. You will burn in hell. It's just, that's the way it works. I've seen the book. I've seen the rules. That's how it works. You weld to a Peterite, straight to hell. Don't do it. Right? You haven't lived until you get nipple tassels. I will tell you, I wouldn't be above trying nipple tassels because they spin and they're cool. But pierced nipples, not my thing. Polish Pony, we're in Allentown. We were actually a little northwest of Allentown in the industrial district. I mean, like really just a few miles outside of town. Actually to the north, towards Bethlehem. There's an industrial area out there. And that's where we filmed it, in one of those industrial buildings. Spin that YouTube dough for me. Redmond Walker, I'm half watching tonight from Portland, Oregon, building my second wood fire masonry oven right now. Time on a trailer so I can take it to a historical event. You know, boy, you have your work cut out for you being a traditional reenactor in Portland, Oregon. The patchouli is strong there. Jeff Cummings, friend of mine, tried to forge a large tap. He cracked and busted the end all the poo-poo. Is this a temperature issue? Also, how is rear forklift time for ASO? A large tap is actually a super high carbon steel. I mean, it's up around, I think, 125 points of carbon, which is really the upper limit. Yeah, so they're brittle as all get out. And that's if it's a high-speed steel or something of that nature. It's not a temperature issue. Well, it's an alloy issue is what that is. Now, as far as forklift time, let me tell you, forklift time tends to be a 40-140. Most of the ones I've found tend to be that alloy steel, super strong. We make our hammers out of them. So yeah, it is incredibly good stuff. Now, you can weld that together and not go to hell. Again, I've checked the manual. Michael Bellevaux, nailed it, sir. Thank you, sir. Apillicus, would I be able to pay into one of your classes, though I don't have a setup to chat and take notes? Apillicus, the classes we're doing online right now, yeah, it's like I said, everybody gets a chance. We've had a couple of guys forge along with the classes, but most everybody's just there watching. Polish Pony, so a hydraulic press can replace a power hammer when conjoined with a manual mill. So there's a considerable overlap. There's like an 80% overlap between a press and a power hammer. The thing about the power hammer, even like my 110, it's more of a finesse tool. You can actually tap on things and just kind of tweak it into place, where the hydraulic press is just pure power and mashiness. There's not as much freehanding that you can do with the press that you can do with the power hammer. So yeah, there's about an 80% overlap in there, but they do have very specific jobs. The answer is to have both, but of course that might be prohibitive as far as money. So I wouldn't say it was a replacement, it would be an enhancement. It can do 80%, but they have very particular jobs. For example, consider a 2-burner gas forge and a solid fuel forge. There's an 80% overlap in what they can do, but it's that 20% that really is specialized and has important function. Gas forge allows you to do a lot of Damascus very easily. However, it's not going to allow you to do forge welds and mild steel easily at all. So again, 80%, but that 20%, there's a lot of important stuff in there. Good questions tonight. Good questions. Jack Burton, I have a question. What's the number one project to work on when you start out to learn the proper skill and control? I've been told old school clinch nails. Nails are great, but I would tell you S-hooks, because S-hooks make you they make you taper, and they make you taper quickly, a controlled taper. They make you bend and they make you twist, and you've got to be consistent on all of those. And you've got to be good at moving from technique to technique. Now, again, there's not going to be any particular law that says one thing or the other. S-hooks are a great place. They're simple, they're easy, and there's repetition, there's practice. Nails, there's really not enough material there to have to do a lot of forging. It's good technique, but it's not going to help you anywhere else because it's really too small. You're going to be working a little bit heavier stuff, so I would lean toward an S-hook. Jeremy Gadden, I was surprised when I learned about Path of Fire. Was that is that the lady with the really suspiciously noticeable thumbnails and the questionable video work that may not be so much inclined to blacksmithing as it is clickbaity? Roy, just got to say, Trent, you've been putting out a great amount of content, sir. Keep up the great work. Your channel will explode in no time. It's a deal, Roy. I'm going to tell you, I've been having to figure out a lot of stuff. Again, I've been able to cover a lot of ground. It take a lot of folks a lot more time to get where I've been in 2.5 months. I tried the schedule thing, but the artist brain, it let me do it. So I'm having to kind of take the harness off. But thank you, dude. Maybe one day I'll be as famous as you. That's one of the odd things. I know I predate most everybody there. I think I'm one of the first ones there. But again, it's you and John Switzer and Alec that are kind of the top three, or the folks that I'm chasing. So good on you. I want to be like Roy. Provo, I sent you an email on these used train bearings I have. Never got an answer. Provo, sorry, I got it. Again, it's been keeping up with the amount of comments and email and things has been a little rough. So forgive me. Those train bearings, I don't know what they are, but if you can throw a few in a, send me another email. I'll send you the address, send me a box, and we'll play with them. I'll see if I can't get them zapped and figure out what they are. You would think that'd be perfect for Chicago land with grift potential. That's what it is. Here's the thing. Remember that the March of Dimes, I believe, was established to wipe out polio. That was their entire function. But the problem is they raised so much money, polio went away. They said, we're still making a lot of money. Why don't we just hang around for a little bit more? Politicians don't appreciate competition. No, they do not. Jeremy, I feel bad since the plague I haven't paid guild dues because I pay them at a meet and we really haven't had any meets. Well, like I said, plague. I think we get a pass on that. Wayne, we should start our own Trenton Nation. There's been a Trenton Nation before. In fact, Mr. Lauren Wembley that's here was actually part of that. This has all been done before. There was a Purgatory Ironworks website. There was an entire message board. But what happened is something that happened with Mr. John Switzer. And he and I had a good comment about this, and I'm sure Roy knows about this. When you build a Facebook page or a group like that, my job is to produce content. My job is to go out there and film. But what happens is when you have a group, it has to be tended. You have to look out for the bad ones, remove the comments, and you basically have to herd cats and children to have a group like that. We're still at a relatively small gathering on that end. This is manageable. But when you get several hundred people there, you can't vet them, and you get some nasties that come through there. And so what happens is this thing that's supposed to be fun for everybody to hang out becomes an incredible nightmare in trying to answer all the questions, deal with interpersonal drama, to the point that I believe Mr. Switzer here recently just said to hell with it. And, again, I had that issue a long time ago. In fact, I think Lauren was one of my moderators, and it was always some stupid stuff that happened. Egos bumping. I don't care about interpersonal conflict on that end of it. My job is to produce content and get good stuff out for you guys. And that was a lesson that I had to learn the hard way. There's only so many hours in the day. Even now, when the channel is still arguably very small, we only got about 2,000 or 3,000 people that regularly engage, which is tiny, right? I mean, tiny compared to what Roy has to put up with. But imagine even now, like I said, I get emails from you guys that I know, and stuff falls through the cracks because there's just so much volume. So, and the only way to do it properly is to basically say, hey, we're going to put this together and put some people in charge of it. But it's the internet. The vast majority of you guys I've never met in person, and you're handing over a group that has your name on it to people that you don't know. They could be psychos. So the fact of the matter is, there are more minuses than pluses. So it's a real issue. It's a real conundrum. It's a real deal. Okay. Eminem, late to the party. What's tonight's topic? Eminem, we were actually discussing the pros and cons of local blacksmiths guilds and some of the issues you're going to face when you're going there. So. We'll build up the anvil. Hey, Scott, if you will actually do a search for Anvil Repair, there's an article, old article from something called The Hammer's Blow that will give you the right rods and the technique. It's not that difficult. You'll need access to a stick welder. The rods are a little pricey, but it will be a proper repair. Going to take a lot of time, though. Oh, the balloon smuggler is here. Acres, what do you make your press dies out of? Most of my press dies are mild steel. If it's going to be a tool that I'll use on every day and I start to have wear, I'll make it out of forklift time, which is also 4140. But most of the time it's just heavy mild steel, heavy solid mild steel. Mark Hogan. Great OnlyFans account though. So if you guys don't know, and I actually got my video demonetized because of that. Then if you guys hadn't seen it, I've been working on the website and I've got my social media links. And so I've got Facebook and Instagram, and then I actually had a link for my OnlyFans page. And of course, when you click on it, it takes you to YouTube and it's a Rickroll. It's awesome, fantastic. Oh, Jake can confirm cleavage cam. Oh, that's Path of Fire. That's a conundrum for me because again, that young lady is kind of a minefield to speak about, because I will absolutely tell you, having cleavage in every shot and having your boobs as your main selling point is low. Sorry, it's low. Okay, and again, it cheapens the work. And I'm going to tell you, and again, and it's so egregious because there was one particular shot where she was working on a piece of Damascus and sanding like so, right? The next shot's a close-up, which again is the backdrop, is nothing but cleavage, and it's this to make them jiggle. And I'm like, come on, look, come on, right? And again, and it upsets me because, again, we put out good content. We try to make it entertaining. And then that type of crap really gets under my skin. It's cheap. It cheapens the work. Nobody's there to see you do Damascus, but everybody's going, oh, it's so brave. Yeah. So brave. Oh, you're great. You smell good. Hey, you've got to be fucking kidding me. So again, I'm a little upset about that end of it. So, yeah. Yeah, I'm one of the old school. Brian, you're one of the first Smiths I started following. Most others I follow are no longer around. I wonder whatever happened to Chandler. I never watched a lot of his stuff, but Chandler was like a poster child. I mean, Chandler's channel was more of a personal blog with some blacksmithing sprinkled in, but Chandler had some real issues. I mean, I felt bad for the fella, but yeah. Brom, hey Trent, what would you recommend for doing as a demonstrations during a fair versus at a living history museum? They're going to be the same demos. Remember that they are a performance, and everybody says, well, we want to do something cool. No, you've got the attention of people for 10 to 15 minutes. You need something that's quick, something that can be completed, and something that you can do well, because most of my demos, nail, S-hook, spoon, fork, and a leaf, okay? Because it takes me about a minute to do either of those, but when I stop to talk about the tooling and how it's worked in the historical context, that minute turns into 15, and that's what you want. You're there to educate, and you're demonstrating, and you want to get something done, but you want to be able to complete it. One of the biggest mistakes I see young smiths make when they go out there is they want to do a project that takes all day. People are at the fair. They're not there just for you. They want to get a tidbit from you. They want to see it from start to finish, and they want to walk away in 15 minutes having seen the whole show. So, yeah. S-hook, nail, fork, spoon, leaf. Okay. Digga-digga-digga-digga-digga. Adder, is this your closer for Hollywood? The zoom fairly close to you. I've been tinkering with the camera angles on that end of it. If I get real super pretentious, and again, it is very different. I finally got the lighting down, but I've been trying to be like super pretentious, again, because I want to be more cinematic. So, sometimes I have to go sepia tone. Welcome to old age Trent, right? I think this is dramatic. I don't know why that's dramatic. Where's the... Holy shit. We're going to go back. Hang on. So where's my hearth? There we go. Bum ba da bum. I'm a star, baby. Didn't you know? I'm a star. Shannon, I didn't realize. Yo, that's right. You were way back there. Yeah, I was about to say, Shag, what a mess. Roy, I second what Trent is saying. And look here, and Roy, here's the thing. Roy, being the good Christian man that he is, there's limits on what he can say online. right? I get a bit of a freer pass, but I don't want to know how much Roy has to secretly drink to deal with all the crap he probably gets. Oh gosh. And if you're a good Christian person, there's the loonies out there. We know about them. You're sitting there, you're trying to be in the good graces of the Lord, and then the crazy show up under, with the cloak of righteousness. It is a very uncomfortable position for any reasonable Christian to be in. I would not want to be in Roy's shoes. That's when you're a minister and you go, ooh, I don't think there's enough. You may have gotten a little too much Jesus. I feel for you, Roy. I've been there. Holy crap. All right, Polish Pony. So I'm going to throw an idea out there. Has anyone built from scratch a power hammer? Actually, there should be several people. I think tire hammers are going to be your biggest thing. Roy, I think you did one. Like I have yet to do one. They're an awesome piece. I just haven't had time to build one, but there's a lot of them. Dave Custer builds a bunch of them. And what's really creepy is that Dave is married and he's building power hammers. I have a picture of me and Dave at Stone Mountain, Georgia, when I was the demonstrator up there, and Dave comes up to my left butt cheek. That's how you know you're getting old. Stressing out here. Try to follow you while watching my maybe cousins on the latest episode of Swamp People. Roy, I gave up on Facebook a long time ago. Jessica, my wife, takes care of it now. Actually, what that should say is I sacrificed my wife on the altar of social media. That's how you should have phrased that, Roy. Oh, God. Jeremy, not judging, but I'm pretty sure Pacifier looks like a lady. P standing up. All her videos are overdubbed by her wife. This is the reason that that they've got some immunity to criticism. You're not wrong. That is a lady now, to my understanding. And again, look, anybody going through that type of dysphoria, it's a bad deal. Nobody needs more crap heaped on them when you've got that type of issue. But when you're being a dillweed, regardless of where you've come from, the issues you've gone through, being a dillweed's a dillweed, and slogging your boobs over a video for views, whether you started with them or got them later, is a dick move. Again, it really bothers me. I don't have any particular animus. I don't know the lady. Don't know the lady. Didn't know the fella. And that's kind of irrelevant in the end of it. I have an issue with their marketing because I feel it cheapens my craft. But no, you're not incorrect on that. All right. That's right. That's right. Yeah, the trolls were terrible. Wayne Moore, I'll come down to your shop and sweep so we can get to know each other. Yeah, 90% was Trent didn't upload a video. Yes, it was. That was terrible. We just need Trent to go to topless. Oh, God. I am actually incredibly self-conscious about my weight. Now, here's the thing. I found a picture. I had never seen, like I said, I'd never seen a picture of my grandfather. I have an identical body to my grandfather. So again, it's, I work very hard to try not to be big, but like I said, I just, God no. Man, I'm the kid that never took his shirt off at the swimming pool. Love cleavage, but I'm tuning in for technique. Now, I'll tell you, if I could find me a good-looking thing to parade around my video as a tool lady, you're damn right I'd do that. Roy, don't get any ideas about your wife. That's bad form for a good Christian man. You leave that to us perverts. people go to learn from a site like that, they need to be paying to view the site. And again, and there's some things I'm working on that end of it. Like I said, we've been doing classes for $20, and we're just learning how to do stuff. So. We bought Playboy to read the articles. Adderig, maybe I'll see if I can't find a way to get your live streams to somebody big in Hollywood so your epic stardom can be recognized. Ain't that the truth? I'm basically hated by both sides. It's okay. I just keep walking on. And Roy brings up, I'm sure me and Roy could actually do, and we probably need to do this, Roy. We actually need to do a dual broadcast and talk about that end of it, because here's the thing. You could be the Pope, and when you do a YouTube video, and this is the other thing, and I know Roy has experienced this. I'm just the guy that talks about it because I'm not polite. It's very strange because for most of your life, you have the opportunity to actually define yourself by the people that you like and love. Your family around you, you kind of define yourself by that. But when you get into this YouTube thing, you start defining yourself by the people that hate you. It's really weird. The Nazis, the conspiracy theorists, they all hate me. Okay. I'm good with that. In fact, if they liked me a lot, I would have serious questions about myself. So I'm okay. So I have to start defining myself. Okay, lunatics don't like me. Conspiracy theorists don't like me. People that don't believe in actually finding legitimate ways to truth don't like me. I'm okay with them hating me. The thing is you rarely encounter those folks until you get to the internet, and then suddenly, out of population of even the U.S. of 350 million, even if it's half of 1%, now you've got 400,000 raving idiots that don't want to see you alive just for the fact that you breathe, right? It's a strange thing to have notoriety. And there's a real different way you have to arrange your brain. And again, like with Roy, and this is the other thing, because, he's going to have, because Roy has kind of a religious context there's going to be so many people coming out of the woodwork to claim he's not even the ones that aren't crazy, to kind of do the no true Scotsman, where, oh, you're a real Christian. It has nothing to do with blacksmithing, but it's ridiculous. It's crazy. And then you get the nut jobs, right? So, yeah. It's awful. Believe me, I really do feel for Roy. I know his pain. Does this mean porn is evolving from the pizza boy to the blacksmith? I would love to do like a fake porno in the shop with blacksmithing. Jane Baritzitz. After joining and quitting different organizations, I've come to appreciate the freedom of knowledge on YouTube, too many rules and personal agendas of the old guard core members. It happens. I hate it, but it happens. Jake, hell, I'll be your price is right, girl. Thoughts on a treadle hammer? No. Too much poop for the nickel. Be aware of all those half-ended solutions that never really that tie up your time and resources and never really get you ahead. Treadle hammer, nah. Ain't fond of the Pope, just saying. He's all right. He's Pope. He's new Pope. He's being dragged slowly into the 21st century with the rest of us, but he seems a decent fella. Provo, I would love to join one of your classes, but as fate would have it, I've always had something that blocked me. Well, like I said, we're going to, this year's going to be the year for classes. So I wouldn't belong to a club that would accept me as a member. Yep. Yitcoin. Well, I'm going to be honest. I have no idea what we're talking about. Well, hey, join the rest of us. Addery, don't worry too bad, Dr. Professor Ty. Don't hate you. Pro. Speaking of Scotsman, who are you and Roy being killed? Now, see, that's another thing that I've never been into. As many Ren fairs as I've been around, I have never been a kilt aficionado. It's just not my deal. I know everybody in Ren fair has got to have a kilt, and it's just not my deal. It's just not my deal. Like I said, I'm proud of my particular English and Irish heritage, but I don't need a kilt. That's for the Scots. And most likely they had to have kilts because they had the what do they call them, the saber-toothed crotch crickets. Molly Cyrus, Blacksmith's hammer. Yeah, what a train wreck. What a train. I appreciate the fact that the girl's made a living, but can you imagine being her parents? My God, I'm sorry. We don't need a blacksmith club, just more online classes like last weekend. Now, I know a lot of you guys may not know, but we've been experimenting with some online classes in the form of a Zoom webinar for the past 2 weeks now, and I got to say it's been pretty damn awesome. There've been long classes, 4 hours, and again, just experimenting on that end of it, and it's been super freaking awesome. So I just got to figure out how it gets in there. All right, save the kilt for the porno. Oh my God. Wow. Yep. Well, guys, look here. It is getting late. Thank you guys for being here. I'm going to make an effort. I know, and again, to do a couple more of these evening chats on that end of it. Not that there's great topics to be had, but and I got to say, I find these things to be incredibly engaging. It's good to actually interact with you guys like this. It's very easy when you do videos, and again, I'm sure Roy will back me up on this. When you do a video, it's like putting a message in a bottle, and you get a few comments, but if you try not to read a lot of the comments because they call that self-cutting or self-harm. I've got it tamped down, but it is a lot of mental bandwidth to actually try to handle that stuff. So, when you get to being here with a group of folks that are, that are of like mind, that are there to hear what you say and just talk and interact, it's a real good thing. It's a real good thing. So, again, I don't know when we'll schedule these. This may just be an evening thing that I get a chance to do when the muse strikes me. And again, thank goodness I have got this room set up that I can simply hit click and do this, because guys, we've never had these before because I didn't have a place to do them. So again, a lot of new stuff to kind of take into account, but it's pretty awesome. It is pretty awesome. So anyway, guys, thank you very much for being here. Roy, thank you for stopping by, man. Like I said, we got more stuff coming out. I'm going to have a couple of announcements for the channel here coming up over the next couple days. Like I said, I know I had spoken briefly about there's a company that's trying to lure me into coming to work again, which I've been resisting. But there's some stuff coming up that I may have to divert some time to helping them. So anyway, I'll be discussing that a little later. That's a different topic for a different time. But again, thank you guys so much for being here. You guys be safe out there, and yay rah. Y'all be good. Vaya con Dios.